everyone, and welcome back. And what do we have here? I woke up this morning, I checked the challenges, and I had a busy weekend, so I missed a couple of things, and I saw this list almost top 8 the challenge. What is this list, and why did somebody submit it? What we're trying to do is pretty much what the Gruul Calamity deck is doing, in terms of we're just going to play big stompies, not really think about it too much, and just hopefully have a lore keeper into a turn 2 hammer skull is the kind of ideal push. And then if we're fortunate enough to have a fight rigging, because obviously there's 2 of, then we do that kind of thing, and then we get to cheat in a big spell. Other than that, we're just trying to connect the pieces until we get up to our big spells, like playing a Tyrant to get us a lot of life and value, or the Rex. But what are my initial thoughts on this? I don't think it's going to go that well, because we are obviously slotting this in the best of 1 and the biggest red flag. You'd be like, well, how would you know that? We have way too many board wipes in the sideboard for me to think that this is going to go well against aggro. Like, there are 7 main board Boros hate cards just strictly in here, and also like life gain kind of effects. There's a lot of decks I think that we're pretty well tuned against. I think a deck that we want to see, honestly, even though it's as boring as it is the kind of Team of Ramp deck. Like, this is kind of the deck that wants to see it. They can't remove this very easily. So if we do get to turn 2 this, like, they're just getting hit for 6 for multiple turns. This haze creature puts a lot of pressure early, and then we're basically forcing them to have to kill us by turn 4 or 5. However, Convoke, I think, is going to do pretty much the same thing we're trying to do to them, to us, where we're going to put in this hammer skull, and they're going to go 9 creatures wide, and then just get through with sheer numbers, and we're just not going to be able to keep up. So outside of that, let's go get kind of an honest review of what this deck does in best of 1. Again, this was for best of 3, but we're going to go try it in best of 1, see how well it can do, if well at all. And with that said, if you enjoy my content, please be sure to subscribe. I truly appreciate it. It helps out the channel a ton. But other than that, let's go ahead and hop into the games. All right, we have a 3-drop and a 4-drop, and we're on the play. About as good as it gets with this deck. Show me the mono red. Hello. You can have it. I don't care. I heard you say it the first time. I saw it. I seen it with my own eyes. You already said it once. But her? I know. This one. I will attack regardless if I hit the land or not, I think. Best case scenario is I hit this land, I get to play this Hulking Raptor. I missed the land, and now I'm crying in the club. I think I just have to use this to find land. We'll grab both these. Make it a little bit harder. I'll be right back. There's something dinging. My bad, opponent. I had something screaming in the other room. I had to go take care of that. I'm gonna tell him to stick it up. Okay. We have the Hulking Raptor. There's the Denic. Not necessarily that concerned. Cut down, not obviously good enough to get Hulking Raptor down. But what card can beat Rafine? A land and playing the Tyrant. Tyrant's really good. Second Rafine goes. Oh boy. Kind of figured I wasn't going to hit the land. Deck has so many problems, and I'm just not here for it, to be honest. Play these ones. Give them a lot of things they have to worry about. Sure. Down comes in for that. Pretty tame overall. The Bone Horde Droxosaur will get removed. Yeah, makes sense. And we'll probably see an attack here. Basically, I did that to just kind of stall so my Hulking Raptor would stay. Because now they can't go for the third or get lost it or anything. No attack because they're not entirely sold that their hand will be able to make Denic large enough, I think. Maybe. implying that they have a spell in hand. That instant speed, it could just be a flash creature. Hit the land. Very good. Play the creature that does not care if it dies once. There it is. And my creatures are just better if I hold back for right now. Kind of out gaining slash neutral with his Rafine. Gonna look at my hand and it's not gonna be looking that hot. Bone Horde, a good take. I do think you still have to take this because this is pretty much unremovable by their board. And again, Toxic 4 doesn't care. It's just based on contact. Then we also have this haster here. Wanting announcement, sure. Have a big creature to get in this way. So like that obviously can't attack. Take one draw. They're trying to keep the pressure on so they can try to close the game. If at all possible. But our entire goal is to not allow that to happen, of course. Take a 1/1. Fine. Play here. Play here. Know what we're here for. Play here. This can act as a blocker if need be. And these ones are getting shipped in. Especially with the other Rex draw. Like, we definitely want to be getting them going. Because again, this Rex makes contact. It puts 4 toxic on. Therefore, if I put a second Rex in play and they both make just 1 point of contact, they will lose the game because 4 toxic will be applied to them. So that's one of the main things about infect and poison that are different. Is like, don't necessarily care that much. They're gonna try to outgain the life on this, but again, Rex does not care. But what I was saying, the difference between infect and poison, which infect is typically considered better because you're putting it on unblockable creatures and things like that. It's not necessarily that big of a deal. But the main difference is the fact that toxic will apply if any's hit, and infect only applies for how much is hit. So it's like this only hit for 1 and it had infect, it would put 1 poison, but because it just says Toxic 4, it'll be enough for lethal. Now on attack, they felt the pressure, they felt the need to push forward, and they are going to lose the game, which I don't necessarily think they had a lot of options regardless around that. And as you can tell, they were willing to take 4 more poison to set up lethal on their turn. But realistically, I barely think that even covers it, right? I guess if they have like a go for the throat for this. I'm attacking out here. I have enough, right? 8, 13. Block here. Or block here. And it's more. But if you go for the throat here and then block here, it, like, sure, I don't get there, I guess, but pretty dangerous in general. I see her squawking back there, but again, we're gonna keep this. Doesn't look like it's a ton better than this, besides having a 1 mana dork. Oh yeah, here we go. I will say, Case has a hard time removing this, but 3 unhindered turns, our opponent is pretty much going to have us already dead, I imagine. It's the best of 1 experience. Here's this, we'll scry, we'll lethal demolition, we'll scry again. Or just do that, yep. Welcome to the best of 1 experience. Oh, here's a knight. Oh yeah. Yeah, we can just confirm that I'm not going to win this game. I just, you know, I'm going to do nothing for 2 turns. And normal best of 3 constructed, a lot of times that's actually fine. Here, not even close to fine. They get a perfect hand, and I'll lose the game. I'm going to go this first, but at least we have some ramp here, at least. Fine with me. I'll keep. I have something to do on turn 2, which is a shock. Tiny Moans? No way, dude. Get our red-green land down. Don't necessarily need white ever. Oh, it's mono black. Very sick. Thing we dodged here was the fact that they didn't play a turn 1 Tiny Bones enchantment. They played the creature. They just didn't play the enchantment, which helps generally make everything larger. Yeah, we're going to be in big trouble, I think. X helps turn up the volume on this deck so high. Come out so fast. Fucking Raptor would have been nice. Just because of the Ward 2, making it a little bit difficult to remove. But also, flooding here is pretty absurd in my deck that doesn't play very many lands. Like, comparatively, I think we're on the average of 24. Even though our deck's, like, quite massive on, like, our mana cost. You just have things that can help accelerate it or pull out lands, things like that. That's kind of why. But if that's, I'm good. Man, I know this is a deck full of legendary creatures. There's probably at least 1 or 2 cards in their hand that's dead. If that's their attack. There's a Shieldren. Shieldren's pretty good. There's a Smuggler's Surprise. Guess what card's not as good? They didn't do anything. And this doesn't actually draw. So I'm going to put this into play. And I'm going to pass. Just hope they don't have removal. No, big ask. Actually a massive ask. Because the problem is I need to actually... I thought I was going to have to teach them how First Strike worked. That kind of implies I got nothing. Oh, yes. Very thick, dude. Don't worry, I've been flooding. These are still the same 3 spells I had when I decided to keep my hand. That's a good creature. Guess who can't play it right now? Me. Actually I can, I think. I know. Oh, wow. I actually can. This is probably better than what that gives it credit for. How long I keep this? Not forever. Huh. Huh. This will actually outgain the Shieldred in a way. Just seems better in general. This is just so much harder to remove, I guess, because it's just got that protection. Which I'm probably shipping in the Bone Horde, I would have to guess. It's such a weird choice. I don't know. Like, do I ship this in and have it get blocked by this? I don't think so. Not until I'm ready to strike for lethal. Because then this block doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes sense here. Because you're like, I'll just take a massive chunk. I'll hope Shieldred draws me out of it. And if not, the Gix kind of contact will potentially get my basic white. They commit a crime. That's the whole point. I don't care really to demo field me as much as they're just looking to commit a crime. I guess I didn't even need to get this. I have 2 caverns in play. Which is quite funny, but I'll make them think my white's important. Again, to go back up, that's taking 5. 19. Going down to 14, up to 6. Of course, as long as my Bone Horde stays alive, I feel pretty good. Our Hammer Skull will willingly trade off with this Shieldred, I would guess. And then the Rex will block something else. Rex being the hardest creature by far for them to remove. They just have Go for the Throats, I think, is the only answer for it. In the mono black deck, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah, they're trying to get me to trade this Rex off. It's not going to happen. The Hammer Skull can. They probably have another Shieldred if I had to guess. But if they don't have another Shieldred, I do then get to play this Tyrant and kind of benefit and reap the rewards of that. But if this Bone Horde lives longer... Okay. You have enough legendaries that talking to him to bring Shieldred back. That's pretty sick. You have 3, so Shieldred's talking to him a cycle was for 1. I'm still kind of excited for whenever those creatures go away, to be honest with you. Here. Now what do we got to do? I could play it, but it's not going to make contact, most likely. Vigilance, trample, haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaurs onto the battlefield. I feel as though that's never hitting my opponent. I could be wrong, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Alright, play to land. Yeah. Look, they're like, I knew the white mattered. Like, kind of did. Now, what's our blocking situation? So, they have... It's easier to count their toughness. They have 7 extra. They have 8 extra. Plus the 5 for 13. So, they go all the way up to 29. I only have... What? 13. Definitely don't have 29 worth. So here is probably good. And just like force them to kind of double jump block or something. And with just a Myrix available, I'm willing to take out the Vadmir. I don't care. Does outgain a shield root by 1, which is annoying. Just sucks, to be honest. Are they willing to just take a strike and hope I whiff? If I whiff, I'm gonna be so upset. Like, it'd be like the old-fashioned collected company. Put the top 6 on the bottom of my library, the way I would like to. All right, so they're gonna make me choose between these two, and because of what my hand is, I'm definitely taking out the Shieldred because we have this, of course. Shieldred is definitely like the worst of the two. And if I can get this online and start gaining life, I feel significantly better about my chances. But eventually they gotta find removal, right? Eventually? Like a Liliana even isn't the worst because you can like make me sack and then you can attack and have Gix try to get you that value back. Attacking into 3 creatures here for 1 card doesn't make sense, but attacking in with 4 creatures to get 2 cards does. With how much mana they have. But Takanuma's gone. Takanuma's back. And that's a great way. Or Shieldred's gone. Shieldred's back. But that's a great way to get that out of here. And now the math makes sense. If it's just a Vadmir attack, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have to let it go. I could be wrong. But I'm letting it go because this could make me more creatures to help with this menace. This could be such a wrong decision, but I think I'm losing if I block regardless. Tiny Bones joins up, which is actually a good way to get lethal. Inherently. I mean, if there was ever a card to help me get out of this, can I even play it? I can't even play it, dude. Oh no. It's got such an expensive mana base and it's so hard to play. Like Fight Ring would be so good here, but it's just not gonna happen. And now I have to hold the line for 1 more turn. Just hold the line, hold the line, hold the line over and over again. And eventually they can use Gix, and I mean, I would use Gix against me. Like, you see my creatures? Creature for creature, mine are significantly better. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, look at that. That makes sense. Creature for creature, mine are significantly better than theirs, but they're doing the right thing. They're putting pressure on. It'll receive a triple block here from me. This should have been just a double, but regardless who done it. I mean, I've lost this game anyway. Doesn't really matter. Oh yes, more like dude. What the hell? Yeah, I'm good, man. Whatever, dude. We go first. I mean, Hopefully I draw a land. That'd be super sick. Preferably an untap one. I can hit an untap land here and then play the glimpse. It's gonna be so good, but you find it. Now, hulking would be best draw because it's got that protection that they probably won't be able to answer right away. But also a 6/6 in the way is pretty good. But just show me everything. Show me the nuts. This is the second time I'm playing Boros and they have the nuts again. This is the best of one experience. Oh, I thought they had it again. I was like, yep, see, this is why people hate best of one. Sometimes it's just like, I'm struggling to just find mana sources or my threats, and my opponent's like, I'm going to do the same thing every single game, and the curve is going to be perfect every time. At least that's how it feels like when you play Boros. The only way you feel like you lose is whenever you get like temporary lockdown or something like that. Or people have to play main board cards like Brotherhood End to just answer this. Like, look at this. Look how many creatures they have. They can't really attack me. They can. It's going to be like quite a bit of damage, but problem is you just start like losing stuff. They're just gonna make us a flyer and attack over. Oh boy. Must be like land spree at this point. Like I just don't know what else to do. Step 1. Step 2, I guess. I will lose now. Play him. Where is he at? Where's Imadanes? Put him on stack. I'll concede. Feels like the same thing. Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's reasonable. I'm not winning this game, team. Like, I just don't know how this deck did well to challenge at all. Like, how did we ever stop that? Or even get close? Like, I understand there's sideboard games, but holy cow, dude. Oh, we go first. I think for the first time, I might get to put this in play on turn 2. But most likely, this will get removed. If I know anything about best of one experience. I don't have hello. What's obliged, I guess? I would say the other one, but I don't have it. Got this. Got dog meat. Yep. Update. I can cast this next turn because I'm not blocking it. Oh boy. You get to play this though. And that's pretty cool. This they can't remove. I guess I could cut down this and then shield reject me. That's also possible. I mean, I'm not doing anything. I don't care if you play my 6/6. Go for it. Kind of funny, but go for it. I'm not stopping you. I know one that you won't be able to cast, and it's this one. One Tarnation. Yeah, you know what, brother? You're telling me, okay? I saw this almost top 8 challenge, and I was excited. And I'm not entirely sure why. I should have just packed him in. Why didn't you attack with your Death Toucher? I guess because it just cleanly blocks this, and there's like no point, right? So here's something sick, chat. This draws a card, but actually outgains shielded, so it's worth it regardless. Do I set up my fight rigging, or do I set up another Hulking Raptor? I think I just set up another Hulking Raptor. There's so much mana next turn. And I just also do the same thing. See? We're going up by 1, team. Look at us go. I'll pass. Look at this. Look at this board. For the first time, I feel like I'm doing something, and it all started off by playing this on turn 2. Who would have thought a turn 2 6/6 was enough to feel like you can win the game? Oh my god. I'm in so much pain. Alright. You have 1 colorless mana. That is fine. I'm going to make 8 mana off this, which is also hip and cool. Can I play this? No, I cannot. Do I just barrel the fight rigging, or do I barrel this? I think I can just do fight rigging. Just see what's underneath. Then I don't get to draw. Questions upon questions upon questions. Now this has to be blocked though. They will have to block. You'll have to make that decision on their own what they're going to block with. Most likely for 2 mana I'll not find anything regardless. So let's play this one. Yeah, that seems about right. This one can come in. I'm forcing them to block things the way I want anyway. And then because of tiny bones, I don't really want to attack with this other hammer skull. I have a lot of creatures that don't have a whole lot of trample to them. So let's just attack with this. Sure and sure. I will take out my own hammer skull. The fact that... Does it go to exile? No, it just goes back in the graveyard? That's kind of absurd. Archfiend. Archfiend's really good here. You sure? I don't think I can outgain an Archfiend. And no attack on the tiny bones is absurd to me. Make sure Archfiend doesn't just have a clearance in the air. Playing this. Draw, lose, draw, lose, draw, lose, draw, lose, draw, lose. Do this. And I have to have a creature of power 7 or greater if I want to do something. And they concede with the fight ring. Mate, you've seen what my deck can do at the peak. Like, you saw the creatures. Why was fight rigging the thing that broke you? Like, what's this going to do? Put in another 6/6? Like, you look at the board. Like, if this one... I feel like you had like great odds to win this game. You have 2 death touchers and this is so large and I have to put the counter elsewhere. Like I can't really even put it here, but I was going to put in the second one of these. You don't have to tell them that because I have 10 that could take this out at first strike, but I mean, look at these goofy boys. All right. So here we are with probably arguably one of the worst decks I've played in best of one in terms of like grabbing a deck from a challenge that perform like kind of well and like kind of just porting it over. This one has to be the worst. It's like not that close. The problem is in best of one with the hand smoother being so high, when you have any amount of clunkiness in your opener like this deck has a lot of, it normally is fine in best of 3 because most people's hands aren't perfect every game, but in best of 1 it kind of does that. And I have a weird feeling that the hand smoother doesn't know how to calculate these type of decks. Because it's like, do we keep any 1-drops or do we give you the 4-lander with a 3, 4, and 5 drop? And that would make sense in a meta that's not super crazy fast. And that's, honestly, I'm a big advocate of the same hand shufflers should be the same one in best of 3. Because they're clearly not the same. Because... in best of 3, you'll have hands with no lands in it. You probably can't tell me the last time that's happened in best of 1. I can't tell you the last time it's happened for me, and I play every single day because it doesn't exist. But, what are we talking about with this list? We're way too high heavy mana to not play enough things to rip out mana. So, for example, I mean, realistically, if you want a good Gruul deck, you should probably just play the Smuggler Surprise one. But you can play it with Dinos. I don't think Dinos is necessarily what's bad about this deck because obviously playing a turn 2 6/6 is incredibly good. But I think we want to be playing cards like the I can't get my hands right on the keyboard. I think we need to be playing cards like this that just have value on turn 3 outside of just being like, I'll play this and they're like, go for the third it, and you're like, okay, cool. At least this goes and rips out a land in our deck, and we play so many basics, it just feels right. And especially whenever we're on 24 lands, we want to be ripping them out quickly anyway because we just want to be drawing threats when we get that mana source or we get like a Tyrant online or something like that. Another thing as well, I think we should probably be up on Glimpse of the Core. Like, I think this deck operates a ton better if we're just like, we have this in, and then honestly this card, I understand why we play this card. This card's really sweet. If you get this in and then you play a fight rigging, you can actually pump it and then make it meet that requirement. But my understanding is this card sucks. I hate that card. I think it's so bad. Um, it might not be bad, but like I just don't think it's that good in comparison to what we could be trying to ramp into and play at any given time. And I'd much rather be able to get to these cards faster than playing a 4/4 that just has kind of haste and trample, because the haste hasn't mattered for me with this deck because there's so much pressure that I normally am building a board to one-shot my opponent, and that is not really where you want to be. Now, don't get me wrong with the Lore Keeper here. You could argue that maybe you go down on this to fit it in or something like that, and maybe come up here and find something out. But I think this deck's just hard to play. I'm not even with 2 fight riggings. I think you're on the fight rigging plan or you're just not. This is roughly like where I would start. But at the end of the day, I think this deck is just trying to imitate what the Gruul deck did. The Gruul Calamity deck. I think it's Calamity. Yeah, I think this deck's just trying to imitate what this card does already incredibly well. And I think if you want to play a Gruul Stompy deck, like this should just be what you're doing. If you need a deck list, I have a video where I uploaded it in the past. I would definitely check it out. But I just woke up, I looked at the challenge as I normally do, and I saw Dinos randomly slot in ninth, almost make top 8, and I was like, oh, sweet, a very interesting deck. Let's go try that out. Don't try it out. Change it. It's not best of 1 material if that's what you're going for, but if you want to play best of 3, sure. Maybe try it there, because again, if we pull this up and we look at this handy dandy sideboard, I wonder what deck we struggle with the most. It's going to be very hard to tell if you look at this sideboard. What our deck creator thought was the deck that we would struggle with the most? It's Convoke, chat. It's just Convoke. You know that time when we got overran by it like multiple times? That's why there are 7 sideboard board wipes in order to make sure that you just set them in their place. Like, this is absurd amount, and just like you'll probably play some of these in the main board. If you think this matchup is that bad, I think you have to play some of these in the main board. But it's just me. I like having decks for everything, like that have a card in it for everything. But at the end of the day, we want to go back and look at it real quick. This is what the list looks like. I don't recommend it. It's just being honest. Seems to be like roughly rotation proof though, outside of this card, which I don't think you want to play it anyway, and this card. Hulking Raptor's good. I guess you never know. I mean, it's pretty much kind of seems like it's rotation proof for the majority of it. I think maybe this one goes as well. This is from Rexia. Yeah, like these are the only ones that I'm worried about. I don't exactly remember what rotates and what doesn't, but the rest is pretty solid. Like Lore Keeper and the Hammer Skulls is going to be good, kind of regardless. But outside of that, I hope you all enjoyed the video anyway on the kind of honest take of what this deck is, and maybe you just shouldn't craft it. So outside of that, I'll see you later in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.